Hey, what's up? Today I want to share with you my recipe for Greek chicken pie or pita, also known in Greek as Kotopita. Kotopita is available throughout Greece, and this recipe meets my three criteria. Number one, it is very easy to make. Number two, super delicious. And number three, it doesn't take forever. It's fairly quick to make. So, to start us off, I'm using 4 skinless, boneless chicken breasts, or about a pound and something of chicken. You can use skin-on chicken as well. Totally works. Avoid the bone-in. Extra crunch. Here's the thing. I'm going to do a little bit of my Greek extra virgin olive oil in the pan, and for this I'm going to use about a quarter cup. I like that olive oil flavor. And these are just going to basically just slide right off into my pan, just like that. Perfect. All right, perfect. My chicken breasts are in. Haven't touched them, but I still want to get the moisture out of my hands. Now, for this, very basic seasoning to start us off. A little salt will go in. A little fresh cracked black pepper will go in as well. And we're going to season again from the other side. I'm going to take 1 tablespoon of sweet paprika, and I'm going to do half of my paprika on this side of my chicken. And now, as my chicken is working and browning, I'm going to take 1 onion, and you can chop up your onion any way you like. Whether it's a fine chop or a coarse chop, not a big deal at all. We want to season our chicken that's going to go as our filling. I mean, you want to have some flavor in this, right? So, just a real fast, coarse chop on that. You don't want to dwell on this either. And that's the onion done. Just like that. Perfect. The next thing in this is leek. I love leek. It gives such a nice, elegant sweetness. So for this, I'm just going to cut the root part away. I'm going to cut the rough edge of the green away as well. You don't want the tattered part. Now I'm going to show you what you need to do for leeks. In here, because they're so tight, down in here you have a whole bunch of leaves that are really, really dense. What you're going to do is you're going to take your leek and just score it carefully down the middle, just like that. And this will release all of your kind of fronds, if you will. Now what you're going to do, you're going to go to your sink, paper towels all over the place, and you're just very carefully going to fan this out and make sure you get all down in there and get rid of all the grit. I know it's organic, I know it's soil, yada, 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 but dirt is dirt, and you don't want to be eating soil. So for this, again, just any kind of chop will work just fine. Nothing complicated. You don't need, mad ninja knife skills. You don't need the knife of like a Crocodile Dundee. You just want to basically just slice it up and be safe about it. Smells absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Chicken is coming along great. We're also going to be baking this off, so that's going to add another level of cooking. We want, at this point, just to brown off our chicken. So my leeks are done as well. So now I have my onions and my leeks done. Let me grab a tong. See what's going on here. Ah, fantastic. Chicken is browning nicely. It's going to be very, very nice. Perfect. Just like that. So now, season again. A little salt. Actually, go a little heavier on the salt. It's going to take it. The rest of our paprika is going to go on these, and it's going to give such a nice flavor and also a color. I love the color that paprika gives to dishes. So that's there. A little bit more fresh cracked black pepper. So for this, I'm also using about half a dozen mushrooms. You can use whatever kind of mushrooms you want, whether they're shiitakes or even the plain Jane white button mushrooms. I don't care what anybody says. They might be like the bottom of the barrel when it comes to fancy, but they still provide an excellent flavor, and that's what basically we're looking for. So now I'm going to take a plate and just take my chicken breasts out. Time to spice things up or flavor things up. And in will go my onions along with my leeks. And there's that sizzle along with my mushrooms. This is like where everybody goes in the pool. Everybody's happy. You know what? Things now are really going to start like shaking up. Again, season in layers. A little bit of salt. A little bit of some fresh cracked black pepper will go in here. At this stage, if you wanted to season things up or spice things up, you can actually add a little sriracha or chili flake or pepper to kind of spice things up. The next thing is a couple of cloves of garlic. I'm going to go in here. So let me lose this little kind of little grainy or the end part here, just like that. And real quick, just slice these up. Doesn't take much at all, believe me. Perfect. That's going to go in there as well. Let me just mix this up a little bit here. And now everything's going to start working down and kind of incorporating as it should. Now, in this as well, there's going to be a couple of other goodies. Nutmeg. Nutmeg is not only going to go into this, but it's also going to go in the bechamel sauce that I'm going to make for this. Prepare to go crazy. This is one of these things, this is one of these recipes where once you try it, you're going to be thinking, where the hell has this been all my life? I'm going to bring our chicken back because what I'm going to do here is cut this up into small pieces or smaller bite-sized pieces. And just very easily and very quickly. You don't have to dwell on this. It's not rocket science, just very, very small pieces. All right, now my chicken is cut up. It's ready to go. Next thing is just add it to this. Lift this up. Now, my friends, this in essence is our Kotopita or chicken pie filling. Oh, amazing. Also in here is going to go 2 bay leaves. Love the flavor. Chicken, bay leaf, bechamel. So these are going to go now browning off for a few more minutes, just until the chicken takes and becomes white. You don't want to see any pink whatsoever. And to tell you the truth, on a personal note, Nouvelle cuisine or gourmet cuisine does not include getting like salmonella. The next order of business, preheating our oven. I'm going to preheat my oven 375. Get that off and going. Time management. That's what you want to be doing, is always trying to stay a step ahead of your recipe. And that way, when As you come to each stage, you're getting it done without wasting time. All right, so now basically our chicken is done, or our filling is done, and it smells unbelievable in here. Next step, take this and forget about it. Just set it over here. Why? Time to work on our bechamel. And for our bechamel, it's my foolproof, no mess up recipe. 1/3 cup of butter will go into this. 1/3 of a cup of all-purpose flour will go in there. Now, as we're making this, the next part is 8 cups of milk, room temperature milk. Try not to put any like really cold milk from the fridge, and just do it in small amounts. As the milk heats up along with the roux of the butter and the flour, you're going to see it thickening up and it becomes like this. That is not the end game. We want a rich luxuriousness to this. Also, stir this pretty well constantly, because what you want to do is make sure that it doesn't catch on you either. Nothing worse than having that scalded milk taste in your bechamel. Not a good thing at all. As I'm building my roux now, or my bechamel, add a little bit of salt. Love adding some fresh cracked black pepper. I don't mind seeing the black little pepper flakes in there, or those specks of pepper. Not a big deal at all. Now, as our sauce is starting to thicken, my favorite part as well, and you can't have any real good bechamel without more nutmeg. We added some nutmeg in our chicken filling. Well, now we're going to add some nutmeg to our sauce as well. Bechamel absolutely needs this. And you're only going to do maybe 1/8 of a pod to 1/4 of a pod, or 1/8 of a teaspoon to 1/4 of a teaspoon. Next step to this, very simply, is time to incorporate and reintroduce. Let me take these bay leaves out. They've done their job. Reintroduce our chicken filling to our bechamel. And very carefully, just add this in there. All this goodness. Don't miss a drop of this, because this is absolutely fantastic. Let me get that in there. Just like that. That's perfect. Now this is where you start using your spatula again. Just kind of keep things stirring. Now, take our 9x13 pan I'm using. In this case, I'm just using a glass pan. You can use stainless steel. You can use whatever you like. Time to deal with our filo. And for this, actually not filo, puff pastry. And very simply, just follow your packaging instructions for defrosting it. It comes previously frozen. And you shouldn't feel intimidated when using puff pastry. This is when I wish you guys had smell-o-vision. Really. Just going to take now my puff pastry and very carefully, at this point, once puff pastry thaws, then you're going to have to work with it A, fairly quickly, and B, very, very delicately. Put this down here. Remember, it's got butter in it, and the more you handle it with your hands and the heat of your hands, the more difficult it becomes to handle. So, stretch this out, and in essence what we want to do is line our pan. Just like that. See that? Perfect. The edges are all nice and ready to go. I also got another one for the top. As our finishing touch for our bechamel, a little kefalograviera. Let me tell you something. I get emotional when it comes to this cheese. Kefalograviera, kefalotiri, whatever you have, use. You can use Swiss cheese. Any sharp cheese will work in this, my friends. And this will give you flavor at the next level. And you know what? What the heck? Do about a cup in this. Time to really work the magic here. And for this, I'm just going to take this and just start filling. Just ladling in. Only because I'm a glutton. And you know what? You just put another little top layer of the cheese here, just like that. Perfect. Little cap on that. And now, time for our cap, or our top layer of our puff pastry. And again, speed is of the essence here, because you're working with puff pastry that's already being thawed, and you don't want this actually just kind of falling apart on you. So what I'm going to do is very simply take this with the lining, and this is a pretty neat trick, and place it over like that. So that way when you pull your sheet off, boom, it's done. It's already on your pan. And you're just going to adjust it and bring it down so it actually covers your pita, your filling, your chicken filling. Now, take this and slowly start turning this in. What you're going to do is you're actually sealing the edges. You're actually crimping the edges here. And when you fold them over, that way you prevent any spillage and whatnot, and the chicken will actually cook the filling even more in its own delicious juices. Wait till you see when this thing comes out of the oven what it's going to look like. Unbelievable. But wait, there's more. Here's the thing. When you're going to be making something like this, I like to do a little something extra, and for this I'm just going to do like a really quick egg wash, and it doesn't take much at all. There, see? That, a real quick stir. Just going to take a little bit of this and just paint it over the top. Nice and easy. This is going to give it a nice glossy sheen, and it's going to just add to the presentation of our Kotopita, or our Greek chicken pie here that we're making. Perfect. Keep doing, just do the whole top very gently. You know, you're not, painting a barn. You want to be a little gentle with this, and just very lightly, just stroke it over like that. Perfect. Just like that, and we're good to go. And lastly, just going to take a little bit of sesame seeds. Just throw them on top there, just like that, very sparingly. It's going to add a little bit of to the pizzazz of this, if you will. Now this is going to go into our preheated 375-degree oven for about 45 minutes to an hour. Check on it. As soon as the top becomes GBD, golden brown and delicious, you're going to be ready to go. One last thing, air vents. When you're dealing with puff pastry, you want to just pop a few holes, just like that, where the steam can escape from, or you're going to have this thing that's going to look like the Sky Dome. It's going to be insane. All right, so I'll see you back here when this is done. All right, so let's get the show on the road. Out of the oven about 35 minutes ago. I'm not going to lie. Here's the thing. I am going to cut into this, and I'm going to try this. But just so you know, I think you should leave this for about 45 minutes to an hour, just so the bechamel and everything else that's inside your chicken gets a chance to set. Because the last thing you want as well is having, this runny, kind of filling. Not a good thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut up a little piece here out of just the side, because, you know, I need to try this. Oh my God. Still fairly warm. Little piece for me. Now, it may be a little runnier than I like, but here's the thing. I need to try this. This will be even better in about half an hour or so. And hear that. You hear that? That, my friends, is like the sweet sound of deliciousness. Let me just leave this here. I'm going to grab a quick plate here just to try this out. Now, I'm going to grab a thing here as well, because let's just give this a whirl. Now, it's always the first piece that gets screwed up anyway, but that's fine. Oh my God. Look at this. Absolutely look at this. It's a little runnier than I'd like, but oh, if you could only smell this. All the flavors have just completely, it's still thick, but it's not as tight as I'd like it. So I would have left it a little bit longer. You're getting the essence of the chicken and everything else. These smells are absolutely remarkable. Again, check this out and just take your time. This is really what a nice family recipe is. So, I want to get some of that puff pastry there as well. Some of that goodness. It's still smoking after like half an hour. Oh my God. Oh. That's it. See you on the next one. I have no other words.